Pigs in a Blanket have been a wildly... Pigs in a Blanket has been, not have been. Because it's wildly popular party food for a very long time. What's your favorite party food?
More recently, it's been prosciutto. Just prosciutto. And I came on to prosciutto late, in my late 20s, early 30s, and now I'm addicted. So if I'm at a party and there's a platter, I'll eat all of it. And not feel bad about it at all.
That's a lot of...
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And delicious. I drink water because, they're salty.
Yeah, they're super salty.
Water and prosciutto are my party go-tos.
All right.
What about you?
So I really like bruschetta.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. There was actually... So when I was a kid, my grandma Shirley would make... Do you know what ambrosia is?
Yes.
Ambrosia salad. It's a southern thing. And she's not southern, so I don't know why she made it. But she would make this for every holiday. And it is so... I'm not a big sweets person.
Yeah.
It is so sweet. It's marshmallows and...
Yeah.
It's marshmallows and like tinned mandarin oranges and sugar. But it is too much for me. And when even little me, I was like, I don't enjoy it. But because someone made it, like you're supposed to have at least a little bite. You take a small bite and you do it. So for years, I would always put like a spoonful on my plate, and I'd always I hated it. And then one year, I think I was 20. I was an adult. One year I'm doing the same thing. I've been doing this my whole life. And I look over and I see my Grandma Shirley took none of it. And I was like, Grandma Shirley? And she goes, oh, I hate it. And I was like, why have I been taking this for so long? So from that day, I was like, really? And she said, yeah, I only make it for, I think my mom likes it. I think my mother's the only person who likes it.
That's funny.
So.
It's gross. I don't like it either.
Ooh, it's too sweet.
Yeah, I never got that.
I don't know how you can do it. This is a great question because you're going to be internet famous in a second. Not from this, from your show. Do you think the internet makes it easier or harder for people to lie about who they are and pull it off?
Absolutely. More so not through like a visual medium, but when you're on Twitter or you're on Facebook, there's no human connection. So right. I have no impetus to take into account your feelings because I'm not gonna, if I say something mean, I'm not gonna see you cry. So I can get away with being my most vicious self. Mm-hmm. I can also, I was talking to one of my buddies about this back home. If I had this when I was younger, I would have had more courage to ask girls out because the fear of rejection wouldn't have been as strong. So I do think that the internet gives you license to be...
You're not quite done. This is not 6 to 8 minutes.
Yeah, it didn't look done at all.
20 minutes.
Well, it's probably because I put too much.
Yeah, we put a lot of blanket on those pigs, but the pigs were big, I thought. But
the sausage was big.
Yep, I should have done this one with a girl.
But no, I do think the internet allows you to be
who you want to be. Well, it also lets you present. Like, I'm not gonna post an Instagram picture of me not wearing pants on a couch on a Saturday night because
that's not who you are. But
no, it is who I am. That is absolutely
no. But it's not who you are in public, terms of in terms of sharing that part of yourself with people.
But it's also really strange. Like, we know so much about public people that we wouldn't have known 10 years ago, and it really shapes. Like Johnny Depp. I don't want to watch Fantastic. I will, but I don't want to watch Fantastic Beasts because I know what he's done to his wife, and I don't want to support that.
Fair.
But it also, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have known that, and I would have just, walked into the movie and been like, great, this was fun, hey, look, it's that guy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an odd thing to juggle. I can't remember who I talked, maybe it was with you. Do you condemn people for their out-of-work behavior? I think, sure, we should, but don't we still use their accomplishments? Don't we still take those things, and be they art or math or whatever, and apply them to
what? Yeah, I think that's fair. But then to me, it's a tough thing, right?
Super tough.
I was thinking about that with Kanye West, for instance, because he says I'm a fan of his music, but he says a lot of things and he treats people in ways that I don't necessarily agree with. But at what point do I stop supporting his work because of his personal, like how he is personally?
Right.
Because that's really none of my business, except that he put himself in a situation where he's forcing his opinions on us. So do I? Yeah, I don't know how to say. I don't know.
I used to be like, well, my lines, if it's illegal, like Michael Vick, I don't ever want to see Michael Vick again. I'd be fine if he never got another job.
Yeah.
But then major football players don't go to jail for knocking the crap out of their wives.
Yeah.
So
it's weird. I don't know. And then also, at what point is it our job to dictate how somebody earns a living? Because it's the way they feed their family, and do we have the right because they did something we don't necessarily agree with? Not if it's not illegal. If it's illegal, I think it's a different case. But if it's just like a moral thing,
right?
How do you legislate?
You shouldn't. I don't think. You can decide for yourself. I guess everybody has to decide for themselves. Like, I'm okay spending money
to support,
watching this or hearing this or whatever. But
no,
it is tricky.
It's interesting too, because it's a conversation that parents have to have now with children that our parents didn't have to have with us, because it's really, I can't imagine being in middle school and knowing how mean kids can be, having the ability to feel a certain way at school, but then be able to go home or get on my phone.
Oh no!
And to just go after
because it doesn't
people.
end. That's why. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever have kids. I don't know if that's in the cards. But like, if I were to have children, no phones. Like,
there's gotta be a limit.
You can't bring that home with you, because if it never ends, you never get the break. Like, I was bullied, not. I was bullied. You know how people think it's cute now to be like, oh, I was so unpopular. No, I was like bullied, pushed downstairs, kind of really mean girl stuff. And I could go home and it wouldn't follow me. Like, I could just go home, I could read a book, I could watch Wishbone, which was a fantastic PBS show. That Classic Alice was not based on at all. And it would end, but today it doesn't stop.
And then it goes into self-esteem too. So another conversation I've had about social media, especially for younger girls, and it's harder if you don't have the foundation at home, it's harder for younger girls to develop positive self-images because of social media, because they'll get on Instagram and they'll see all these pictures of what
models,
what's called media, but not understanding that those pictures are doctored to the point where it's not even.
Yeah, it's like our magazines thing. Like, when we were kids, it was magazines. Like, you don't look like that in real life, but at least that you knew. Like, okay, right. Well, it's a magazine that these people were paid to. With Instagram, and Facebook and Twitter, like, the whole thing is, I'm your friend.
Yeah.
And that is, like, dangerous when
really
you get people who aren't conscious of it. Like, you're manipulating people. Yeah. And sometimes I worry, like, because, I mean, with the show, we do that too. We got paid, not paid money, but, like, we were given product to wear and show off, and, like, I don't want to mislead anybody.
Yeah.
And I don't want anyone to be like, that's not really who she is, because that seems important, especially with our audience who's so young and generally female. My dog is going crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a weird thing to navigate on both sides. Like, I don't want to be irresponsible with all of the power that I have.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be irresponsible with it. But it's also a way for me to further my career.
Yeah, and I think that, it just comes down to balance, right?
Yeah.
And I think that responsibility doesn't fall, like, that yes, we have a responsibility because, people see us and they invest time in what we're doing, but at the same time, it starts at home. So, children, young boys and girls, they have to develop strong senses of self, so they're able to discern, this is just fantasy. This has nothing to do with me. Or if they see something that they admire, they can say, okay, I like this part of this, so let me see if I can maybe.
I mean, even today, I go on Pinterest and I'm like, ooh, how can I make my house look like that? And I forget that I cannot.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Or if you want to, then you find the ways to do it. It's not gonna make you feel less than because you don't have that. And I think a lot of kids get on social media and they start to feel less than, not understanding, and also not understanding why. They just feel bad. They just feel bad about themselves, and that's unfortunate. Yeah, that got deep.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
This is a real serious conversation.
And also,
wait for these pigs in a blanket.
Since we're talking about social media and the power of it, I mean, if we were talking about the election earlier, a big reason why, what happened was he understood the power of social media. He understands that, especially with something like Twitter, it's all about visceral reactions and getting somebody to feel something right away, no matter if what he's saying is true. It's just a matter of...
It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because it takes a life of its own.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's true or not, and that's disturbing.
And that's the problem with social media too, is that there's no accountability, right? So
did you see the Washington Post made an extension that fact checks Trump, his tweets, in the tweet?
Yeah. I did see that.
I thought that was cool.
But what's scary about that is it doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter what he says, which is again another negative to social media, because it's just about, okay, is it funny? Does it make me feel angry? Does it make me feel sad? Okay, what's next?
There's no critical thinking involved. That's actually something I think kids are apt to miss. I mean, adults too, clearly, but learning to think critically and ask, is that reaction fair? What don't I know? What's the other side here?
Yeah.
Even if I've gotten into a couple of it doesn't matter what the other side is things after this election, and it's kind of it does matter.
It always matters.
Even if neo-Nazis are terrible.
Yeah.
Done. But if you're not aware of what they are saying, you're at a loss. You have to know the other side in order to combat it. And I think I'm sure it happens on the right too, but I'm liberal, so that's all I know. But there seems to be this tone deafness. No, it's bad, so we just won't even think about it. It's just a no. And of course it's a no. But you need to understand why it's a no.
But we need to get to a place where we can find some middle ground. I mean, neo-Nazis, they're extreme.
Right, you don't want a middle ground.
No, they're extreme, but their fears are real.
Right.
They're still people. Their want for happiness is still there. It's really warped.
It's different than mine. It's super different, and it hurts other people, and that's wrong.
Growing up in the South,
I
encountered a lot of racism, for
that's the word.
For better word. No,
that's it.
But growing up, I realized, because my parents and my grandmother, both my grandparents, they taught me to take each person as they were, no matter what they come from, no matter what they may say or do to you. Try to get to know them on a personal level, and I think that's also what influences me as an actor. In that I got into some conversations with some people who were racist, and I showed them, not to pat myself on the back, but I showed them another side to it, because a lot of times people don't know. You don't know what you're not exposed to.
Nobody thinks they're stupid or racist or gross.
So the problem with what you're saying...
Except me here today. I'm aware of it.
With what a lot of people are doing and trying to shut people off, that only furthers their anger.
Yeah, so because it gives them a but look at what you did.
It creates an us versus them mentality, and if you don't create an environment where we can all sit down at a table, like Dr. Martin Luther King said, if we can't sit down at the table of brotherhood and talk about our differences and our experiences, we're never going to get to the place where we need to go. The problem with, I don't want to say his name, but the problem with President-elect is he created an environment that didn't allow for that. Not only did he create it, he's not recognizing that it's there, and he's not taking any steps to remedy it. So that's what scares me the most about it, is that moving forward, he has to be the example of bringing people together, and by the choices that the people that he's choosing to put in his cabinet is just inability to genuinely apologize for things that he said that are wrong, and that's what scares me the most. I don't have a problem talking with people about differences in ideas about how the country should be run, because that's the beauty of our country. Right. But that's not what this is. It's deeper. It's much deeper than that.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we solved all of America's problems here today on literally cooking. Do you think this is something I read? I can't remember if it was New York Times or Post, but there was an article about how millennials don't seem to have the great American novel in their basket yet. Like we haven't had anyone do that. A novel that speaks to the whole generation, kind of like a Catcher in the Rye or Gatsby. And what? Oh, Dana's pointing to Harry Potter. Maybe, but that's not American. Right?
We're in a global society now.
Not according to President Trump. Do you think that this kind of disillusionment might spurn that? Are you a believer in art comes from pain? Are you a believer in like you have to go through stuff in order to make?
I am a believer in that art comes through experience, and pain being one of them.
That is an experience.
I think that
these are so close.
It also comes from the ability to trust yourself enough to be honest, and I think that art is truth. That's really cliche, but real art comes from your truth. The artist's truth, and that may be, in the moment you may be mad when you're creating something, and that it'll be reflected in your work, and you may be happy, and that'll be reflected. So it all comes from that. I'm going to be interested to see moving forward because of social media and how the access to people just do stuff. Like
that's kind of what I think is maybe hindering our age group. Not all of it, but like having this social media like instant. You don't need to sit down and write something epic.
Yeah.
You just like say your thing and then you move on.
And it doesn't reward somebody who takes the time to become skillful at
No,
art.
it doesn't.
So it really doesn't. Like
No.
Anybody can call themselves a writer because they have 1 million Twitter followers or whatever, but it's not. You dedicate your life to something. And that's something that I've always appreciated about actors, actual actors, not just celebrities. The ones that are on the audition ground, the ones that do take class all the time, the ones that you book a job here and you book a job there, but at the core of it, you still wake up every day and you try to become a better actor, and in turn, that makes you a better person because you're in touch with who you are,
and you're in touch with who other people are.
Yeah. Because that's the beauty of acting. A lot of people don't understand too. Acting isn't about. It's not this egomaniacal thing. It's good acting is about the
Your
other person.
Yeah.
It's about.
Sit down, Kevin Spacey's masterclass. You're gonna do it.
But that's the beauty of it, and that's what I fear with, again, your question before, the social media thing, that a lot of people don't take the time to just get to know another person. You're afraid to, when I moved to LA, I didn't have a car for the first 8 years, so I rode the bus.
Really?
And this is a big city. Yeah, I rode the bus.
Wow, that's crazy. I don't think I've 8 years is a long time.
Yeah, it's because when I loved what I did, and I didn't have the money to buy a car. But what I did, I was on the bus, so I saw a lot of different types of people, and I engaged in conversations with a lot. So it further, I'm from a small town in South Carolina, so it just broadened my world to the point where like these people are people. I've always known that, but being and seeing people, who have nothing. Like some people, one time I had to, at 4 in the morning, I had to get up and go to work. This is a true story. I woke up at 4 in the morning.
None of those fake stories you've been telling.
Woke up 4 in the morning, stood at the corner in the cold, rode the bus to work for 8 hours, left work, 2 auditions, 1 in the Valley, 3 hours there, 3 hours back. But through the course of that, I interacted with so many different types of people, and it was great. And at the same time, I also felt like I'm putting in work. Like this I'm learning, and this, that's I've lost my train of thought, but that's at the core of it is just people. You see people that wake up. I woke up at 4 in the morning. There's a guy on the bus who didn't have any place to sleep, so he rode the bus at night. He just rode it around, so he had a warm place to sleep. That's I could talk about this for days, because at the core of it, it all comes down to people. That's really what it comes down to. It's just basic empathy for another person's situation that isn't yours. And
that's something that's been tough to do this year. We're always told, don't judge your character, because I could be playing. I played a slave owner, and I had to find what made her sympathetic, even though our gut reaction is like, slave owner, what a monster. Well, she didn't think she was a monster. Society didn't think she was a monster. Like,
Yeah, and also, I mean,
you gotta find it.
You gotta find it, and it's there. You could, you can find that in any person, because at the root of a lot of really most, if not all, disgusting acts is based in fear. Like you're scared. You're scared of something, and that's a universal feeling that we can all tap into.
Yeah, and watching someone cover their fear is very interesting because people do it in very different ways. Like, she covered it by not giving Dred Scott his freedom. Like, that was how she clung to a life that she wasn't going to have when her husband died. And every character does it in a different way. Some people pull in, some people go out.
Yeah.
I really like playing that. I don't get to play a lot of drama. Because once people learn you're funny and you're a girl, they're like, you should be funny in everything.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
But
That's tough. I was going to ask you about your experience as a female in this business, because I'm sure mine as a male has been, I won't say easier, but a lot, maybe easier is a word, because those look amazing.
Those look done. I think we're done. My experience has been, we'll have to hold some of these up. We're just gonna sprinkle a little bit of cheese on them, and then
You can put in, this is an uncircumcised. I can say uncircumcised.
yeah, it's YouTube. You can do whatever you want.
That's science. Biology.
So I'm very conscious of the fact that, yeah, I'm a girl, but I'm also a white girl. So the problems that I've bumped into are a little different. Like, I don't get. This is what I think. I could be totally wrong, and I could have some angry actress comment on this, and that's fine. I welcome it. But I think that there are more white 20-something girls in this town than there are white 20-something jobs, in a way that doesn't manifest for an African American 20-something girl or an Asian 20-something girl. Like, there are fewer parts for them, but there are also fewer of them. So they work, it seems like they work more, or they get out more, simply because of the numbers. Like, there's just, like, if there's 100 white girls and 20 parts, like, that's our ratio. There might be 3 parts for Asian girls, but there's 10 of them. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's hard in a different way. I'm speculating. I'm obviously not.
Well, no, this is. I mean, that's what it is, though. It's your experience. So
That's what it feels like.
So, yeah.
Which doesn't mean it's true.
Which is
because
fair.
Feelings aren't facts.
Yeah. But that's fair. I mean,
Yeah.
and,
Do you want cheese on all of them, or do you want just like some that are plain?
Cheese on all of them.
Okay. We like cheese here. Dana's nodding. We all like cheese.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. Yeah, I've experienced all of my girlfriends. This is apparently I'm the odd man out, and I don't know why. Maybe someone on the internet can tell me. All of my girlfriends have horror stories. Have like creepy audition stories, gross agents or managers, or like sexual abuse stories, like just disgusting, creepy stories. I have nothing. Nobody has tried anything with me, and I'm like, cool, great.
Are you angry?
I just feel left out. No,
Yeah.
no. I think I might just have like a litigious face. Like,
No.
I don't know what it is, but it's not. It hasn't happened to me, which is great. I feel very fortunate.
This is maybe it's. I mean, because you're very. I don't know your friends or who you're talking about, but you're very comfortable in your skin as a woman. So when you walk into a room, like, you just know that you're not going to get away with BS, because.
Right, that's what I mean. I think I just have a face that's like,
Yeah.
don't.
Well, and you're just confident in who you are, so it's not even necessarily how
These
you
look so pretty, even though they're gigantic.
These do look delicious.
Alright, so these are all made and done. They're very fancy looking.
They do look really
do you want
good.
to try it?
Nice and warm. Yes, I do.
Alright.
I want this one.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
They're very crumbly. Mmm.
I'll go.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so it was a success. Even they look awful. They look just like ridiculous, but they taste fine.
Oh yeah.
The cheese is we were right to put them on everything.
Cheese sets it off.
All right. These are great. So, where can people find you and your crowdfunder?
So,
Oh yeah. Could you just answer that?
so on Indiegogo, we can put the link. Once we are, shot a funny video. You should check it out. It kind of sums up what we're about, Josh and I, and yeah, all over the interwebs. Facebook at Kelvin O'Brien, at Thanks for Trying Show, Twitter same handles, Instagram same handles. So
Nice and easy.
we make it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're told to. Like it's a whole like.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. I have one more question for you. What's your dream role?
Dream role that's been done, or like,
Like,
something I would
period.
want. It changes. But right now, I want to be the leading man in a film about interracial relationships, kind of like Loving, but but I want to explore that, and then that be the basis of it, but then go into how do you raise well-adjusted interracial children, because I think a lot of times it's hard enough finding your identity when you're young, but when you're being pulled in so many different directions, growing up, how do you manage that as a parent?
It's not the same, but I'm Italian and I'm Irish mostly, and I found I went more one direction than the other. And then when my mom's dad died, so that's the Italian side is her side. When he died, she kind of went that way more. So like, I don't know actually. I'm biracial, so I don't know.
It's interesting
But
because
it felt like one culture won out.
and it's funny you say culture, because it's not funny, but so I grew up in the South, like we talked about. Both of my parents are college educated. My grandmother has a PhD. So education was something that was always really important. I've told this story a lot of times, but it's something that as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate. So growing up, school was always really important. So my brother and I always, we got good grades. We were articulate kids, like we were respectful, all this stuff. But as I got to middle school, I started to realize that because of that, I felt like I was being pulled in one way or another, because, the African American culture was telling me that I should be one way. So when I go to school and I'm speaking well, and I'm getting good grades, to a lot of my black classmates, that kid's he's a white boy.
He's
He's
posing.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
pretending.
But also because I had friends, I got along with everybody. So I would hang out with kids who didn't necessarily make me feel like I was less than. So that struggle in finding the identity, because I walk out into the world, I'm still a black boy in the South, so I'm getting that from my society. But then at the same time, when I'm being told that I'm not black enough. So how do you? And it really messed with me for a while. It wasn't until I probably got to college that I got really comfortable with who I was, which is why I think I want to do a film now about being a parent and trying to help my children navigate that and finding themselves, and not letting what other people tell you are dictate how you feel about yourself.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
That sounds
I would do
really
that.
good.
So that's the dream.
Cool.
Right now.
Yeah.
Tomorrow could be different. Tomorrow could be
Of course. Like
But-
our dreams constantly change.
Yeah. But ultimately my dream is to do really good dramatic film work that people can walk out of the theater and have a different outlook on whatever topic it is.
I think that's an admirable goal.
Thank you. I'm an admirable type of guy.
You are. You guys, thanks so much for watching. This was our Pigs in a Blanket from Gatsby with Kelvin O'Brien, and make sure you check out his crowdfunder, his Twitter, his everything, because he's great. And thanks for getting like super deep with me over the easiest recipe in the world.
Yeah, I was thinking, we picked the easiest recipe to talk about some real stuff. But
Cool.
thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Yay! Thanks for watching. If you want more videos like this, or just other stuff, or want to see things, I'm throwing stuff at you. Visit patreon.com/KateHackett.